Let me tell you a travel story. March 2022. The Ukraine war started. I felt compelled to help, so I booked a flight to Poland and I made my way to the Ukrainian border. I worked for two NGOs. One of them was Szafa Dobra. The meaning is the wardrobe of good. It was a huge warehouse where volunteers sorted and distributed donated clothes to Ukrainian refugees. This is where I met Bryan, a volunteer who flew from Canada to Poland to help. Every morning, we distributed tasks to all the volunteers. The facility was a massive storage area filled with donated clothes. It was a huge mountain of clothes that needed to be sorted by size and usability. Every pair of hands was essential for the 30 to 50 volunteers, including those who took care of the kitchen, ensuring the well-being of every volunteer involved. Nobody wanted to volunteer in the kitchen, but Bryan did. He volunteered in the kitchen because nobody wanted to, but he said, yes, I do it, every morning. He made coffee, he took out the garbage, he refilled the snacks, and did it all with an infectious enthusiasm. While I worked in the kids' corner, taking care of the kids while the parents were searching for clothes, Bryan was in the kitchen, always ready with a smile. Some beneficiaries appeared calm and respectful, while others were visibly distressed because of their circumstances. The children varied from being normal to very calm. For moments, it felt like a normal shopping mall during a shopping day. But the energy in this place brought you back to reality. It was still about people who needed clothes because they were fleeing from their home country. Imagine, you talk the whole day with hundreds of refugees in the mix of Polish, of English, of Ukrainian. I tried to learn some Ukrainian words to communicate with the people. So I talked in a mix of three languages to try to establish a communication, just to somehow communicate, feeling drained. And then you go to the kitchen to have a short break, to regenerate a little bit. And Bryan is waiting there with a smile and saying, hey, do you want a coffee? This was incredibly uplifting. I once asked Bryan why he chose to come all the way to Poland. And then he answered this. I could spend $3,000 to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks and to do nothing, to sit at the beach and watch the ocean. Or I could spend the money to come to Europe during these times and help people in need. This gives me the feeling that I can do a little bit in this hard situation. His presence wasn't just about the tasks he performed. It was about the spirit he brought to the team. Bryan was an essential gear wheel in the machinery of the volunteer group. Imagine you are in Canada, thousands of kilometers away from the war. You book a flight, you pay your own money to get to Europe, to get an expensive flight, because during those days the flights were expensive, and he said his decision was very spontaneous. He's coming to Poland, he's working in a storage, and he is just making coffee. He is just taking out the garbage, and he is just refilling the snacks. Nothing special. But for the volunteers, it was a very important thing. Because in this moment, getting a coffee was not just getting a coffee. It was the feeling of you are doing a work, you are giving the energy to people in need. And when you take a break, Bryan is waiting there with a coffee, with a smile, and with a positive energy. And this was helping the whole group. If Bryan's story touched you, remember the impact of one person, of little acts of kindness. You don't need to change the whole world, especially in a situation like this, in a situation of a war. We cannot stop the war, but we can try to make a little difference by being kind to each other, by maybe joining an NGO and helping for a short amount of time and giving a positive energy during this time to the other people. His decision to help was not about the task itself. It was about his enthusiasm and about his supportive presence. And the combination of this was invaluable to all of us. Remember that also you can make a difference. No matter where you are, even if you just hand out a coffee with a smile. Thank you for listening.